Hello everybody and welcome. This is the Midnight McBride Show and it's episode 4. Today I'm joined by two Salford City Radio co-hosts who have their own shows, and I've got Jenny Berry. Hello Jenny.
Hello.
Hi. And Chris Edward. I always want to say Edwards, but it's Edward, isn't it? Yeah. So maybe first of all we'll start off by telling us a little bit about your shows. I've called this show the Salford City Radio Get Together.
I like that title.
I like it too.
So Jenny, you've both been on my show as well, which makes it a lot easier because obviously I know a bit about you both. But Jenny, so what's your show?
So my show is called Word on the Street, and it's a slot about words and language. And I have local guests on from Salford to showcase how they use words and language in a different way. So from poets, novelists to motivational speakers, I just want to get it out there, how words and language can be used so differently.
Yeah. Each week on the show, I look at the camera and I go, hot off the press. and I say that when I'm saying something that nobody else will know yet, and that is, you're about to go live.
Oh.
Is that right?
That is, yes, I am. Hopefully, yeah, in a few months, hopefully training to go live, yes.
Oh, I thought it was imminent.
Well, a few weeks, a month, I just need to, but yeah, definitely going to do it live.
You're going
which
live.
Is easier for me. I'm going live.
Yeah, there's no post-production, editing, messing about. The only thing is, though, what you say, you can't take it back, can you?
You can. But when the guests, sometimes if they're nervous and they're performing, that's why sometimes I'm using my time editing.
Yeah.
It's kind of not my problem if it's live. I mean that in the kindest way.
No.
You know.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Really looking forward to doing it live. Because I'm used to performing live, just radio's different.
I only did a couple of shows live, and because my show's on so late now on a Monday night, midnight till midnight, I can't physically be there all the time, so I have to pre-record, you know.
No, that makes sense.
So,
It's
Chris.
quite late to be there, isn't it?
Yeah. Tell us about your show, Chris. What are you doing?
So mine does not sound as anywhere near as amazing as Jenny's does. Mine's literally just a drive show, so I'm on every Friday.
You said just the drive show. That's the prime slot on the
It's
radio.
the drive time. That's
I know, it's
amazing.
drive time. It's people wait half their life to get that slot.
I know they do.
Yeah.
Well, yes. So I basically drive people home on a Friday night, 4 till 6. I've only recently just started back doing it again.
Yeah.
I started a new job last year and I did loads of training, so I just didn't do a show for a year. But I started a couple of weeks ago, and I'm basically getting in anyone and everyone from in and around Salford. I've kind of chose it as a slot to talk about what good is happening in Salford.
Yeah.
Who's in Salford, who's got a good story.
I love that when you say I drive everybody home. Doesn't that sound nice?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's really well put.
I have to try and be very professional. I do the traffic, travel, and
Right,
so
yeah.
it's very nerve-wracking.
I'm dead relaxed and great at talking about whatever I want to talk about, but give me a script and it's a lot harder. You know?
Really?
Yeah.
I found that out when I just on this audio book down in London, and because I wasn't talking free flow, just straight out, you know, as I'm thinking it, and I had to concentrate on when I breathe and all the details, and it was really difficult, you know, I found it very hard.
Yeah. It's different though, isn't it? You know what's in your head.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, exactly.
You're a rule breaker, I imagine.
Yes. Yes. So, Jenny, we'll talk a little bit about your journey up to this point. Anybody that's listened to the show would know this, but we'll just touch on some of the things.
Yeah,
but
of course.
two pivotal things, I think, is one, that you won the poetry competition and you won some funding.
Yes.
And then you took that into prisons. So
Yeah,
that's
well,
fantastic.
actually, it was a social enterprise competition, and my idea was using poetry, delivering workshops with prisoners. So I won £10,000 to set up a social enterprise, and from there I took it into prisons across the northwest.
Yeah.
And carried on running that for 4 years and gained more and more funding in, and it was brilliant. I loved it, and it was successful for social impact.
Yeah.
I still do that role as a freelancer, but I've become a mum now, and chasing the funds became a bit difficult.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So now you're just a radio presenter and do poetry, live readings, and recently on Radio Manchester as well, BBC Radio Manchester.
Yeah, I was on our kids' show performing one of my poems about being in the prison system.
Is the show called Our Kids Show? Or was it your kids' show?
No, it wasn't. No. Our kid's an amazing artist. He's a poet. He's a lot of things. He performs a lot. But no, his show's Our Kid, and that's what he's called. But I did get that. What, your brother's got a show?
Yeah.
No, he works in construction.
like me. Yeah. So, Chris, I know quite a bit about you because when we do the Mind, Body and Spirit show, we go into quite a bit of depth and we talk quite openly. And so you're quite heavily involved with Salford Pride. Originally Manchester Pride,
Yeah.
driving around in a little buggy at the front.
In
or
a
something.
nice little rainbow police.
Yeah,
Yes,
yeah.
maybe.
Ace.
Yeah. But Salford Pride, yeah.
Yeah, so I got involved with them, November 2018, just because I thought we've got a local pride here that I feel myself could be a bit more community. It needs to have a bit more of a community focus and just kind of aim that way, really. So I got involved with them last year, and I was part of their social media team looking at how we can change the image of the Pink Picnic itself, which is the annual event.
Yeah.
But then looking at Salford Pride as an organisation in general, as trying to find out why can Salford Pride do more throughout the year for Salford rather than just put on one big party.
And your numbers have gone through the roof, haven't they? I remember you telling me about the first one. You worried if anybody would turn up, and now it's into the thousands, isn't
the
it?
first one, it started off just as the Pink Picnic, which was basically a group of friends just meeting on Facebook, meeting in the park, going for a picnic. And a couple of drag artists, I think, just ran around the park a little bit. And then it's kind of...
and got arrested, and that was that.
And then it's on its 9th year this year. And, I mean, last year, there was over 5,500 people that turned up.
Wow, that's huge,
amazing,
isn't it?
It was real. Last year, without obviously bigging myself up, but I was there and I was helping organise it. It was a really good year last year.
Yeah.
Really good.
Yeah.
They've actually got... and start announcing soon their artists for 2020.
Well, this is it. It seems so bizarre. August is when they have Manchester Pride normally, and then that doesn't seem that long ago. And now I'm thinking, actually, it's 6 months till that. Everybody's talking about the next one. It just comes around so quick.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
Well, Pride season effectively starts the start of June.
It's all year.
That's it. Well, every borough in Greater Manchester now has got its own individual Pride.
Yeah.
So it starts...
Bolton has one now as well, don't they? Yeah.
So it starts very early on in June and doesn't finish till way gone October.
Yeah.
So where does Salford Pride? Where is it?
It's in Peel Park,
Okay.
in Low Broughton. It's normally end of June. It's kind of where they tend to stick it. It's been going on for 9 years now.
God, that's amazing, isn't it?
I've noticed, and it might just be me, because I've seen a little bit of like, for example, the RuPaul drag show, stuff like this, and we've gone from where when people dressed in drag, they tried to look as much like a woman as they can, to the most bizarre makeup sometimes.
Yeah.
You know, like really, really striking, but looks nothing like a person would normally look.
Yeah.
You know,
Well, you look at
like doll faces.
If you look at
this.
the UK one that's just been on, there was an artist on that, Crystal, who purposely their main aim was to try and just blend genders. So
Right.
they were dressed as a female, but then had like chest hair and had a bit of a beard, and were trying to just blend the genders.
Yeah,
Blenders. I like that.
That works.
Yeah. So, Jenny, I'd seen some clips of you on social media.
Yeah.
And there's one in particular that stuck out in my mind, and you were almost like having a rap battle, like a poetry battle.
Yeah, yeah.
And there was another guy,
Yeah.
and you're in quite a small venue, but really like intimate.
Yes.
Lots of people round. And you start off, and then they go, and then you go, and it's like watching Eminem or something like that, isn't it? It was brilliant.
Oh,
Yeah.
That was to highlight. It was a bit of a laugh as well, but highlight accentism. I've got a real thing about accents.
Because you don't have one at all, do you, Jen?
No, I don't. Our kid, do
Our
I?
kid.
And it was obviously he was talking RP, very Queen's English, and I was putting on my Salford accent a little bit more than normal. And it was just about judgment on how we sound.
Right, that makes sense then, I understand now. Yeah, because...
I'm interested to hear your Salford voice then.
Well, it's more, you know what I mean, our kids, so don't judge me on what I'm talking about.
Yeah, but do the Salford thing.
No, I've had a few experiences in my life where I've been judged on how I've said things. So I was working in Wilmslow, an elderly age when I was young. I was a makeup artist.
Yeah.
And people booked me for the wedding, and we didn't really have much conversation in I won't say the shop where I worked. And they go, oh, I love your makeup. I love that. Can I book you? Got the diary. Yeah. And as they heard my voice, they were like, where are you from? Salford. Really snobby towards me. And didn't book me. Now,
Well, they're lost.
If any bride listens or anyone who's had makeup on the wedding day, if you're happy with the way you look on your wedding day, you'd have an alien do it. If you know, it's such a stressful, important day. So it just stuck with me that, and I thought, I'm not changing the way I speak, and nor should we judge anyone from the way we speak either.
No.
So
In
it
fact,
stemmed from that, really.
Yeah. The most beautiful people, and I don't mean externally, I mean internally, are people who are 100% themselves, connected with the true nature, and don't try to be anything they're not, you
Yeah.
know, and trying to hide something. I mean, I am by no means perfect and I have plenty of flaws, but I've sort of tried I've come to terms with it, and now they're not flaws, they're just me, and I embrace them, and that's the way forward. But something we talked about when you did the show was body dysmorphia and how you were very uncomfortable in your own skin when you were younger.
Yes, very. I suppose I'd say you manage it. I don't think it ever goes away. But I would never have come on a camera or had pictures taken 10 years ago, ever. So, yeah, a body dysmorphia.
What camera? What you talking about?
Yeah, it was horrible, really. Anyone that's got it, I'd say it's like a mind trick. I'd say if anyone suffers from dyslexia, I'd say it's like looking at your reflection and you are seeing something different to what anyone else sees.
Yeah.
So yeah, but I've come through that a lot and I'm still going through the journey.
Yeah. You always, when, you know, we talk and stuff, you seem incredibly confident and comfortable, you know, but that's taken work to get to that point. You know?
Oh, gosh, lots of work. I mean, there was a time when I was late teens and I would literally have a spray tan every single week just to stay in the house, go out of a cap, cover my face because I thought it was so repulsive. And it was ridiculous, really. But I thank that time now. It's helped me with other work that I'm doing.
Makes you stronger, doesn't it?
Yes.
Yeah.
Well done on the progress that you've made.
Yeah.
That's massive. Like,
It's a very misunderstood thing as well, because some people would like, you just want attention. You can't think you're ugly or whatever, but it is a real thing. And if anyone has got it, that it happens to listen, please do get help for it, because it is a real thing.
And we were talking off air before.
Yes.
That for many years, I wouldn't have a picture taken. And if somebody asked me and then they persisted when I'd already said no, I would say, Luke, I'll ask you nicely. And I'd probably swear and I'd stop and I wouldn't have my picture taken. And I've gone from there now to sitting in front of a camera, and really it doesn't even faze me. Now, nothing has changed. I don't look any different than I used to look. It's simply how I think about myself, and I've just become comfortable. I know I can't change it. My ears are the shape they are. I have no hair. I'm gorgeous.
Hair's overrated.
But yeah, so I just became comfortable. That's all, you know. Chris, you in a way, which is part of your journey, and you were in the control rooms as a policeman.
yes.
And now you are a fully uniformed, patrolling, truncheon-wielding, crazy policeman, yeah?
Yes.
Yeah, so that was a big step, because I talked to you when you were going through that process, and initially it was, you know, there was a bit of anxiety there, and it was a big step, and going to people's houses when they've got a disturbance, and you know, you have to become comfortable with yourself, because there's far too much else to worry about.
Oh, yeah. I think, to be honest, I have two different modes. I've got my work mode and then my own mode at home. So I think when I'm in work, everything just disappears from me. So all anxieties go, all kind of insecurities go, everything goes, because I've got that uniform, and it's kind of a mask that I put on.
So do you put the uniform on when you go on dates? Evening all, I'll have a pint of bits, please.
Definitely not. No. But yeah, I do. I think it's, so going, like you said, the transition from being in a control room where I'd ring people on the phone and I'd talk to people over a radio. They just heard my voice. They had no reason to judge me other than my voice. That was it. Yeah. Whereas now I'm going into people's houses on my own, potentially when they're in the most vulnerable state of their life.
Thinking, I'll have that.
I'm not one of those.
No, I know.
Definitely not. But no, yeah, it is. It's definitely an eye-opener sometimes, like, to go in. I've been out on my own patrolling now for, about a month?
Yeah.
So I think I'm just settling into it now. I was kind of...
Yeah.
I had a shift last night, to be honest. I finished at 10 last night, and it was very much so where I was... That was a good day. You did all right. Today was good. Now for the next. So.
That's all you can ever wish for, really, isn't it? You go through life, and when you go to bed at night, you think, today was a good day.
Yeah.
That's a wonderful... I don't always have that, but I have it a lot more than I used to.
Well, that's good.
You know, yeah.
That must be hard, going into people's houses if they just had a robbery or something.
Well, that's exactly it. I think the one that I went to the other day, I obviously can't say much about it, but it was a burglary where offenders had gone into the back door while their families were away on a holiday in Australia.
Yeah.
So you just think you've had the best time of your life in Australia. You've come back, been shot straight down to earth with this awful thing that's happened, and I've got to go and try and make it better.
All you need to do is take Jenny with you, and Jenny, you put your hoodie on, speak your Salford accent, and do your rap battle thing with that, and nobody will come near you, will they?
Exactly, that's
Hilarious.
it, exactly.
Yeah. We've big news at the station at the minute, because, and a big shout out to Jill, who's come along and grabbed the bull by the horns, given up a lot of her time, and changed. She's remapping the future for Salford City Radio, making big changes. And permission for the larger antenna, the bigger area, so they have a much bigger reach, has been applied for, and it's been in abeyance for years, I believe 12 years.
Yeah.
And eventually, now, finally, that's been granted. And
it's brilliant, that, isn't it?
we're well on the way to getting the funds as well. For some reason, all of a sudden, things are just really starting to come together, and really exciting times, you know.
It is really exciting times. It's to see how, I was just saying to Jenny before, I've been there since day one with the station.
Yes.
So I was a tiny, spotty little 16-year-old when I started there. I'm 30 this year, so I've been there a long time.
Yeah.
It's crazy to see how it's changed, and I've seen numerous managers come and go at the station and take over and have their own spin on it, and none of them have kind of had that community feel that Jill's brought to the station.
Well, I think as well in the past, a lot of them were getting paid, and then obviously the money's not been there, and Jill's come and give her time up, and a lot more time than you know she'd ever been compensated for. She gives up a lot of her time, and I just think Jill's the reason it's all starting to take shape. You know,
it's passion. You can't pay for passion, really, can you?
No,
absolutely.
It's like she's the mum. She's like, it's her actual baby, and you can tell.
Yeah.
It's brilliant.
I think what she's done though is she's got the right people in the right places. So at the minute we've got some of the best volunteers that we've ever had.
Yeah.
You two have recently added to the station, haven't you, over the past couple of years?
Yeah.
You've both kind of joined. And it's the stories that you bring to the station are the stories that help the station progress and go where it needs to go.
Well,
because that's what sells, doesn't it? People buy into personal stories and what people's journeys
it's
are.
okay having for me anyway, personally, if I'm listening to radio, I like to listen to a bit of music, and it's nice to hear somebody doing the same patter and things, but I like somebody to tell me what's, the nitty-gritty, what's going on,
I do.
how you doing, bringing people on that have got a story to tell, and which is what I try and do. And in the last show, I was talking about the radio, and at the beginning of this year, I was really ill again, and I had like another nervous breakdown. And in sort of December, sorry, not this year, let me get this right, 2019. Yeah, so, and the first 6 months of 2019, I wasn't well. The only thing that I could really keep going, I didn't really go out, didn't socialise, didn't see anybody. I don't socialise now, I'm a miserable bugger. But, and the thing that kept me going, that I was still able to do, was the radio. And it was a massive part of my recovery, because it kept me, I was going outside, I was engaging with people. And so for me, the radio is like a real place in my heart, and I think that it helps so many people, not just the listeners and not, building the station up and everything, but the people that are involved with it. It gives them purpose, and it gives, a lot of the people there are locally talking about it, have had problems in the past, and the radio brings us all together. I like, the Star Wars bar, when they go in, it goes, doo-da. Have you been to one of the Salford City Radio do's, obviously? You go in and there's all these people, you think, wow, it's a right crazy bunch of people, but all awesome, I love it.
Definitely.
Yeah,
It's
proper set of characters.
Definitely the people that make it what it is.
Yeah.
I'd say that people don't, we always, when we talk to people, they're always like, oh, how many listeners you get? And it's like, well, that's not like, we're more than a radio station. Like you said,
exactly.
It's something that keeps you there. And you can go in on any day of the week and there'll be people just sat around. They might not be talking, they might not be saying anything, but it's being in an environment that's getting them out of their house.
Of course.
And bringing them with other people. And
that's a really good point. A lot of people don't say that, but one or two do say, how many listeners have you got? How many listeners have you got? The first question, it's like, if you do a race, and you both know that I do running races, ultra marathons and things. If I do a race and then somebody says, what time did you do? What position did you finish in? Other people just say, did you enjoy it?
Yeah.
That's the right question.
It is.
Exactly.
It depends. I was a sprinter when I was younger, you see, 100 metre. So I probably would.
It's because you've got to run under people's legs and in between, isn't it?
Yeah, I was good as well, right through. But yeah, I know what you're saying with that. That's ego again, isn't it? I suppose, is it?
Yeah.
Or is it nosiness?
Well, I don't know, but when your priority is money, statistics, numbers, rather than, and I used to be like that. I'm not pretending any different. I used to be like that, but now I would ask, if somebody else does a race, then my first question would be, how was it? Who was there? Did you enjoy it? Where were you?
Yeah.
Not like, what position did you come? What time did you do?
Yeah,
You know,
no, I get that.
so-
It's turning it into a competition rather than enjoyment.
Yeah, and a long running race is definitely not a competition. It's can you make it over the line without dying?
God, yeah.
Yeah.
You know.
Definitely. I
Yeah,
want to try
can
and do half a marathon, but I don't know if I could.
Of course you could. Of course you could.
Well, it's a goal I've got to try and get to this year.
Yeah. Yeah, a half marathon, so that's about 13 miles.
Yeah.
I've just been with somebody about 2 weeks ago. I went with a group that doing the Couch to 5K, and I went with them supporting and running with them. And from the Couch to 5K is the hardest distance you'll ever do because it's from zero.
Yeah.
0 to 5K is a long way.
It feels
5K
it.
to 10K, not nearly as far. 10K to 12 mile, not nearly as far. Once you're running, once you get a certain level of fitness and build it up, it's a lot easier. So
Really?
you can already run, I'm sure. You can do
Yeah, I can do 4 or 5 miles.
Right, you can do half marathon. You can do it. You
an
just got to
Uber.
get your mind in the right place. You need to
Really?
you might have to dig deep, a bit of grit, but
Yeah.
the more you do it, the more comfortable it becomes.
Well, that's a goal.
Just
isn't
need a recording of midnight in your ears.
Ah,
do.
yes,
Yeah,
yeah. You can do
All
it.
the way round.
Yeah,
Keep going.
you're almost there. It's downhill from here.
I listen to meditation.
It's all in
when
the
I'm running,
mind.
sometimes.
Yeah.
So, yeah, okay.
Anything that helps.
I love the fact that we were talking and you listen to Wayne Dyer every night when you go to bed.
I do.
I did that for years. And he
Really?
really helped me, you know, when I was
This-
having difficult times.
There's so many different speakers and people like that, isn't there? But he, for me, he's brilliant.
I
He
need
chills
somebody
me
with
out.
a nice relaxing voice as well when you're
Yeah.
going to sleep.
Yeah.
You know, and
My husband introduced me to him years ago and I didn't really listen. But then, past few years, I just have been doing. But yeah, I love the way he puts things so profound but simply,
brilliant.
you know. And
Yeah.
he's got a simple mind, so I need it.
Yeah.
Simplified.
He does exactly that. He'll take something that's very complex, quite a really pivotal, poignant bit of information and put it in really simple terms. You go, I do a lot of that. I have a lot of realizations
Yes.
when I listen to Wayne Dyer. I'm going, oh yeah. And he starts
Literally.
to, yeah.
It's like he does the comic book side of spirituality and anyone can read it. That's how I listen to it anyway.
It's a
Yeah.
good thing to have, I suppose, isn't it?
Yeah, it
I
really...
think I've not listened to him myself, but you're both convincing me that maybe I need to.
Oh,
You
he's-
need to, and let us
I
know.
think it's
He passed away about 2 years ago, which was really
He
sad.
did.
And up till that point, I'd read, I think, probably 75, 80% of his books. He's written 40 books, I think. And I'd read a lot of his books, listened to a lot of them on audiobook as well, because I'm a big fan of that. And I've got 2 books here, Jenny, so I'm going to really learn to let go and not be attached and let you leave with one today.
Oh, that would be brilliant.
There's only 2 things I'm really attached to in my life,
Right.
and there's my books and my sports gear. And my sports gear because it's functional, because I do
Yes.
sport. But the books, some of them, I've got like the Bhagavad Gita and the Life of a Yogi and the Tao Te
Life of a
Ching, and
Yogi.
I've got some beautiful books, you know.
Right.
And I've read some of them over and over, and I still won't
That's
let 'em-
good.
I can't let them go, but I'm learning.
Yeah.
I'm getting there.
Well, the main thing that stays with me for him, because it's something I've struggled with, is other people's opinions has nothing to do with you.
Yeah.
About
what
yourself.
I think, what you think of me is none of my business.
That's the way, yeah, that's it.
Yeah. So we're coming towards the end of the first part of the show.
Aw,
wow,
Yes,
it's going so
yes.
quick, isn't it?
hasn't it?
Yeah, it flies, doesn't it? So we'll have a short break now and we'll join you shortly. Hello, everybody, and welcome back. This is the Midnight McBride Show, and I'm still joined by my 2 fellow colleagues and radio show hosts from Salford City Radio, Jenny Berry.
Hi.
Hi.
I'm still here.
And Chris Edward.
Hello.
Hello. So, we didn't discuss this off air, but I'd like to talk about it, Chris, and that is the fact that you do some adverts for the radio.
Maybe 1 or 2.
And there's one in particular that you do with Jill, and I hear it, and it's for the NAS.
Yeah.
And she's like,
That's not even me.
that's not you.
That's her son.
That is a son.
Oh!
Actually a son. Yeah.
I know how I am always there, and I do always do the voices, but yeah, that one's not actually me. That one's her son.
I was certain that was you. I was going to give you a right ribbon then, but I'm going to have to let that go. Oh, I'm disappointed.
That advert is always on.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is. It's that we used to do adverts where it was alternate hours, so that some hours would have one type of advert and other hours would have a different type.
Yeah.
But I think because we've hardly got any adverts now, it's just the same ones every.
Yeah.
But I do love curry, so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's an award-winning curry house, apparently. You've not had the pleasure of doing any adverts yet, have you, Jenny?
No, I've not actually.
No.
Was it with do.
There's still time.
What was that thing you did last year? Crime awareness.
Oh,
play?
hate crime awareness.
Hate crime awareness. I think I was a voice of a really young girl on a train because I've got a young voice.
with a
apparently.
hoodie on from Salford.
All right. Yeah. So no, I've not. But I would do. Not for
Yeah.
anything.
Noted.
Yes.
I'm in the process at the moment of trying to improve our jingles and bring them a little bit up to the 21st century.
I need a jingle, so can I be in that process?
Of course you can be.
Brilliant.
Well, you've just told me you want to do some adverts now, so you are the new
Yes.
voice.
Very
Yes.
FM. Du-du-du-du.
I have, when I do my show, I always pick, for example, we have people that say, this is such a body from such a band, and you're listening to Salford City Radio, and we have sweepers and jingles and things. And I always pick the ones I like, so it's the same ones every time, because I like Feels by Calvin Harris, and there's
Yeah.
a jingle there. And I also love Swing Out Sister.
Oh, yeah.
And she does a little talky bit as well.
Yeah.
So I find it really difficult to play one that's, for example, it's not. There isn't one from Elvis, but if it was Elvis, isn't it? I'd be like, I don't really listen to that, you know.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
so I think in your show you could get an inkling or a feel of what somebody likes by the jingles and the sweepers
Yeah,
they
you
play
can.
as well.
Yeah, of course you do, yeah. I'm trying to do a good variety. Of
Yeah,
ones, to be
that's the
honest.
right thing to do. That's professional.
I think I've recorded about 4 or 5. I did 3 like tester ones with my voice to see what Jill thought, and what I've had played it to a few other people, and they liked the style of it. So
Yeah.
I'm hoping. My idea is to have the same style of music but with different voices. So you know when you listen to other stations, they'll have.
Chris will like have
be
4
there.
different hats with him and
That's
put on
it.
different characters.
I know,
and
yeah.
That's it. I'll
to be
just
sure, yes, yeah. What does that mean?
just change the microphone as they go around.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I was just trying to.
Brilliant.
I think, like I said, we've been there for 13 years now, so we need a bit of a.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We need,
upgrade.
we need a new.
Evolvement.
Yeah, I reckon so.
Yeah. I did one advert, and that was I was doing a venue Z-Art/2019 at the beginning, but
Z-Art.
I pulled the plug on that, and up until this point, I've never said why, and it was because I was ill, but I didn't, say at the time. And I did an advert for that, and I think you helped a little
Yeah.
bit with that as well.
I remember hearing the advert.
And we got it all geared up, and it was logged in, and plastered all over the radio. And then obviously we had to pull it because I wasn't going to do the
Oh,
venue
bless
because I
you,
was ill.
yeah.
And you'd gone to quite a lot of trouble, I think, logging it and
Been there for hours.
yeah. Oh no, felt terrible. But
No,
we had a
it's
load of
fine.
fun doing the advert.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh, can
It
you
was,
imagine?
it was a
Yeah.
good advert, to be fair. I think we've still got it somewhere.
I've still got it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I want to hear that later.
It's a nice
Yeah.
advert.
So for each video podcast to do,
Yeah.
what I've done is I had a list of people, and I was starting to pair them off, and I've already got the first 10 or 12 shows booked, this being show 4, and putting people together, and I thought it was going to be difficult. And then naturally,
Yeah.
and without any effort, it just sort of all fell into place. And I'd spoke to you, Chris and Jenny, and I thought, well, of course, because you're both on the radio,
Yeah.
and everything just seems to fall into place. So there's been a lot of synchronicity and alignment with doing this. So I
Yeah.
feel like maybe we're doing something right,
Definitely are.
you know.
Absolutely, I would agree.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
I
And I've
think
seen. You showed me a little bit before, didn't you?
Yes.
And it's
Yeah.
you are doing a lot right. Yeah.
Good. Well, there's 2 ladies that were on, and Mandy and Becky, and I contacted them both. I even paired them both up.
Yeah.
And I had no idea that they'd, behind the scenes, they'd met up and arranged to do something together. They're setting up a CIC, and they're doing a new business venture together, but I knew nothing about it.
That's amazing.
And another lady I contacted, Catherine Beaumont, who does Meditate with Horses.
Wow.
I hadn't spoke to her. I did a retreat with her about 18 months ago, and she came on the show, and I hadn't spoke to her, hadn't seen her since. I'd spoke to her very briefly. And I contacted her, so were you going to come on the show? I went to Manjusri at the weekend, and she'd gone to Manjusri for the very first time, and we bumped into each other at Manjusri the same week I contacted her about the show.
That's synchronicity, isn't it?
I know, yeah. So it
If
all
your
seems...
mind's in the right place, it will end up where it needs to be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And if your mind's not in the right place, you cut your finger.
How did you put your finger?
When my mind's busy,
Yeah.
I'm clumsy. And sometimes I'll cut myself or bang myself, and I won't even register it for a couple of hours later. And I'll think, how did I do that? And I won't know
Really?
I've done it because I'm so,
Focused.
yeah, I can get like that. A little
Oh,
bit.
God.
You'll know with my obsessive notes and planning and organising.
Yeah.
And, yeah.
It's very organised and professional. I love it.
Good. We didn't have a sign for the first show. We did the first show, and the sign, I tried to get it here on special delivery, and they couldn't do it. And so it was all just blue. And then 2 guys turned up. We had Wesley and Darren turned up. And I think Darren had black and Wesley had blue. And fortunately, I told them Wesley had a bag of clothes with him and he had to get changed because if you wear blue on here,
Yeah.
you just...
Just a floating head.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah, you can't see anything.
That is hilarious.
Yeah. So, Jenny, maybe tell us, I know you're doing a lot of performing,
Yes.
stuff you've got coming up in the not too distant future.
Okay, so something exciting and hopefully, so I can only speak a little bit about it, but I've
Okay.
been collaborating with a local actor, Stephen Lord. So we've been working on a play for theatre. So that's
Brilliant.
in the process, shall I say.
Yeah.
So that's exciting and very good venture. Also, I am performing on JB Barrington's lineup on the 16th of May at Salford Arts Theatre, which I'm so lucky and happy to be
Wow.
doing.
Fantastic.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm on first and then the acts get better. So,
Or they just want to wow everybody right off the
well, yeah,
the
maybe.
cuff.
I
That's the
don't
most
know.
difficult slot as well, isn't it? Opening.
Well, they'll have a
Yeah.
compare, but I'm very lucky to be doing that and I'm excited.
Yeah.
It's
Really
big
cool.
for me. JB Barrington had a show at Salford City
He
Radio
did.
and he's done so well. So it's dead inspiring
Looking for
to
the
see.
perfect beat
Yeah.
with his show.
Yeah.
I remember that.
I like the expression I use is when somebody, like you've been on Manchester Radio and then you've obviously won a poetry competition and
Yeah.
got funding, been into the prisons, you're performing live, you're doing these collaborations, and I like the expression, you get where water can't get, which is basically,
I do.
you are everywhere.
I know,
are
I do.
everywhere.
I'm good at networking. I think, do you know what it is? Communication. People say to me
Yeah.
sometimes, and I say this a lot on my show, because, there's many different artists, or whatever you're doing in your life, you're working at something. And I feel there's a lot of people trying to block one another from their success. And it's the wrong way. That you're not going to run out of success, are you, in the world?
No, but
So I maybe done it when I was younger, subconsciously, but I've had quite a lot of bitchiness, unfortunately, in
Yeah.
my life, like I'm sure others have. And I thought, you know what? No, I'm just going to be the opposite of you and help promote one another. And I think why I get into places, because I do. I've got into prisons where psychologists haven't been able to get, and it's communication.
Yeah.
And just being yourself, I
Of course
think.
it is.
That's what I
that
think.
is so well put, Jenny.
Yeah, it was.
That's I've experienced. I've done certain things, and then people have copied me.
Oh,
I
yeah,
mean,
God.
copied me to the point where they've copied artwork, they've taken quotes off me, all sorts of things.
Yeah.
And then instead of resisting that now, I'm thinking, well, I've tapped into the source. I've got unlimited
Yeah.
creativity, and
Yeah.
I'm just going to move forward and forget about that.
Yeah.
And otherwise, it's a negative experience. And also, there are genuinely some people out there. There's two nice ways of dealing with. If you have success, then you either congratulate you or try and emulate you, and that's okay.
Yeah.
But some people will actually try and stop you
Oh,
because
yeah.
maybe it's jealousy, or maybe they think they'll never do what you do,
Yeah.
and so they're out to bring you down. And I've experienced that too, and it's really upsetting. But I've also come to accept that is part of the process. And I think with people, when social media, there's a lot of people who get upset and suicides and stuff. It's when you let that get you. There will always be a small element that are really unhappy about you doing well. They don't like to see it.
They are,
And
yeah.
what you've got to do is not let it phase you. Do not let it penetrate you. Do not let it affect your inner emotional state. Let that go and just focus on looking forward and where you're going.
Yeah, no, because it knocked me for a while, because I was getting it a lot from all angles. And then I thought, well, it's probably because I am, like you joke, you get where water wouldn't. Everyone says that.
Yeah.
It's because I'm little, I can sneak in. But yeah, I think people they're a bit shocked and think, God, how have you done that? But I work hard. I don't leave the house doing 9 to 5. So people wonder, but I work at night when my baby's asleep and stuff. And
Yeah.
see, I'm explaining myself. That's what I
Yeah,
can do. But yes, your advice was fab back. So
Good.
Yeah.
Good.
I'm fascinated myself. Like I only know you as presenters at the station, don't you? So it's nice to hear stories and see what you do. And
Yeah. And all the Salford City Radio dues where we go and we buy a load of tickets and don't win very much,
Yeah, that's
hey,
it.
I won 30 quid, but I put it back in. I had to put that out there.
Well,
Did you?
I won a hamper, not the last
ya?
do, the one before, but I was surprised the race do that we went to,
Yeah.
how much, I'd been to a couple of do's where they're quite sparse. The race do was packed and they raised a load of money and everybody was on it. It was really good fun.
Was that the last one? I couldn't
Yeah.
go because I got
Yeah.
booked work. I couldn't turn it down. But I went to
Yeah.
the one before.
Yeah.
Did Carl compare?
Yeah.
He's brilliant.
Yeah.
It was really good.
He's actually
Yeah.
really funny.
No, he is. I've
Carl's
worked with
dad
him.
was there, wasn't he?
Yeah, he
Oh,
was.
was it?
Yeah.
Jeff?
Yeah.
It just looks like Carl, no different.
I know Carl's dad. I know Jeff Royal.
Yeah.
I'm friends with his sister, you see.
Right.
But I've worked for Carl years ago when I was doing promotional work, but he can turn his hand, to anything.
Yeah,
He's talented.
He is a really talented man.
Yeah, he's a magician as well, isn't he? Is
Yeah.
that right?
Yes.
I don't think he pulled out too many magic tricks though that night. I think the first time round he did, he walked around all night doing magic tricks.
Yeah.
But I think this time he just got in the zone. Of,
Yeah. Who knew that you could get so excited about a £1 bet on a virtual horse race? But
That's it.
Brilliant, isn't it?
Yeah, I know, but
I
it
was
can
more
happen.
excited about the pig races, or then the
Oh, yeah, they're on the screens, aren't they?
yeah, brilliant.
And then, fortunately, I say fortunately, I don't quite know how to word this, but there was a funeral and there was some butties left over and they brought them round. So I actually got some food as well. So
Yeah.
it's really nice.
It was a really good event, to be honest.
Oh, I
Yeah.
missed it.
Yeah. So at the station, you mentioned you're doing something. Is Zach coming on your show?
Oh, Zach's a guest
Yes.
soon. Yes,
Yeah.
he is, Zach Peach.
Yeah, I see Zach every Sunday, or
Yeah.
not every Sunday, but every Sunday I go to the station.
Yeah.
And he does the show in the afternoon. It's quite a long show, it's a few hours long. And
Yeah.
you'd see him, and he's really passionate about what he does in the
He's
music,
really
isn't
good,
he?
isn't
You
he, as
know,
well?
Yeah.
and if you listen to him, he's really smooth, really
Yeah.
good, really good
Yeah.
patter. You know, some of the shows you can tell somebody who's passionate about what they're doing, can't you? You know,
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Well, he's done acting as well, so I wanted to bring him in to talk about. Well, I don't want to spoil it,
Okay,
but like
yeah.
about words and language in different mediums.
Yeah.
So I thought that could be a great one.
Well-
I went to
Yeah.
school with him, and
Yeah.
I worked at Salford Royal Hospital years ago when he was there.
Yeah,
like,
he's still
Zach,
there now,
you're
I
always
think.
there. Yeah.
I did a little bit of acting a few years ago, 3 years ago, something like that, 4 years ago.
Did
and I
ya?
did Scott and Bailey and I did Peaky Blinders. And the reason I say that is I'm recently, because I've set this studio up, I've had to sort out some stuff and I pulled out some old DVDs and I've got the little Peaky Blinders clip
You
as
did
well.
Peaky Blinders. I think you told me.
Yeah,
Just
I
casually
probably-
did Peaky Blinders. Oh,
probably.
yeah.
Well, but it's the only time I've had a. Well, actually, it's not because I had a police uniform in Scott and Bailey as well as a copper. Then I've only ever done two things, and I've always been a copper.
That's brilliant.
Yeah. I did a lot of scenes in Scott and Bailey, and I drove the police car as well. And then I was in sort of a 1930s or 40s policeman's uniform with a truncheon, with a big moustache.
Well, they're quite big things to be in for being a
Yeah.
casual actor. How did
I know.
That's it.
I
you
don't
get
know.
wear what I wouldn't
Yeah,
do?
well, yeah. I just put myself out there, and within about 2 weeks, I actually had a whole stream of offers, but I physically couldn't do them all because I was doing other things at the time. So I just picked the two I thought would be good fun, you know. So.
You hear of actors' lives being so bad, getting no jobs or anything.
You just put yourself out there and getting Peaky Blinders.
I know. I must have had the look. I think
Razor blades.
basically, if you're like 40, bald, you get a lot of work.
Really?
Yeah, coppers and army people, you generally, extras in
Brilliant.
films and things.
wow.
Yeah. So we're possibly coming towards the end of the show now. We've not got a great deal of time left. And I'd like to first, we'll talk about the radio first, Salford City Radio. So 94.4 FM, we've all been involved with it. You, the most recent presenter, myself, nearly 2 years now. Chris, half your life.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
Chris FM, isn't it?
Yeah. And I think we've all got a lot from it. And so if the viewers, not listeners, but the viewers, if they're watching this, 94.4 FM, Salford City Radio, if you go onto the website, there's the facility where you can listen to any of the shows. If you click on it, and you can listen to the last 3 shows that were aired for that slot, can't you?
Yeah.
So, for example, my last 3 shows would be Marcus Chester, who's the Happy Chappy. And then I also did a show with Willow. And prior to that, it's Nicola Bruce, who's one of the champion ultra runners in the UK, who's done the first lady ever to complete the 100-mile Grand Slam for the GB Ultras. So those are my last 3 shows. Jenny, tell us what your last 3 shows were. Can you remember?
So the last one was Amanda Steele. She's a new published poet and novelist. Well, she's not new published, but a new book was coming out. So that's the last one. The one before that, I think, was Kate, and she's a HR poet. So she believes in creating a role for poets in work, a role to get paid and work, which is fantastic and very rare because you don't get many HR people saying that.
There's a friend of mine who's a screenwriter, and he's done a film now, and he's written for Casualty and Death in Paradise and things like this. So he's lucky because he writes and he gets paid for it.
Yeah.
But if you're not actually producing a film or a story and you're writing poetry, it's a lot harder, isn't it?
Yeah. Oh gosh, it is. It's very niche, and it's very. People will contact me and say, "Oh, I've seen you do this. Can you do this? I've got no budget though." And I reply with, "My shower's broken. I don't get someone to come in and say there's no budget."
Yeah.
So, and another guest I've had from Best Friends Nursery, the manager, to talk about language acquisition with early years, which is dead interesting, all very varied people. And, you know, as I said before, I think language is the key to communication. So, yes.
Chris,
Maybe that's why you're so good at it, I suppose.
Yeah. Well, it all makes sense, doesn't it?
Yeah.
It all makes sense. Chris, do you have guests on your show?
Yes, I do, yeah. So my past 3, like I said, I've only recently started, and I've tried to get people in to talk about the good that happens in and around Salford. So I had a organisation called Salford Litter Heroes, which is a primary school teacher, has basically took it upon herself to clean the streets of Salford. So she's created this community group. She's started off with Salford Litter Heroes. We've now got Echo's Litter Heroes and Little Hulton, and it's spreading around. And she's basically just giving communities the power back to clean up their own area, because councils haven't got funding anymore to go around sweeping streets anymore. It's just setting up little projects like that.
I see the odd person in Bolton, and they have like a bin bag kind of thing on the back with a litter picker. They're on their own, they're not getting paid for it, and off they go, and they just start, if there's a footpath or a trail or and they go cleaning it. I just think, what a beautiful thing to do in your free time, So
it is. It's amazing to see the work that she's doing to try and help other people improve their areas of where they are. It's brilliant.
Yeah.
It's needed as well. That's fantastic.
Well, that's it, exactly. So I've had her. I had a group called Up Here. And that's a guy I used to go to school with him, and he started a new production company where he does a lot with Salford Arts, which is probably why you might have heard of him.
I have got him on Instagram, actually.
They've just done Life Up Here 2, which is where they had 7 pieces of work that was kind of edited, produced, promoted, and kind of worked with these 7 different artists to put on a live performance at Salford Arts Theatre. So they were in to talk about that, which was brilliant. And then I've also, last week was an amazing show. I loved it. It was an organisation called Talk About It, Mate, and they are a men's mental health community group, effectively. And what they do is they just set up local meet groups for guys to go and talk and just let off your issues, just have a chat, talk to people, and kind of getting out your emotions and feelings.
There's a lot of... I've seen recently more so groups where men meet and talk, and for a long time men didn't, and that's why men were violent and men got angry and men commit suicide because they don't express themselves. So it's a great thing.
I think that's why I enjoyed that show a lot, because it kind of felt like there's not been a lot of this around, and now all of a sudden everyone seems to be seems to be bringing it.
I said recently that when I was having a conversation that my shows, and I didn't realise it at first, and now I do, and it explains a lot why when I was ill, is my shows are therapy for me.
Oh, yeah.
Because my guests come on, and each week there's one of them, and they come as a one-off usually, and talk about the life and, things, and I think it's really healthy to do that. Every week I go in and tell everybody my problems, and it definitely is therapy for me. I think it helps me a lot to...
Having a conversation sometimes can just ease that little bit, can't it? And
yeah, absolutely. Of course it can. And that's a really good show, the males, because most of the prisoners I've come across, male prisoners, have all said that they just didn't know how to speak or weren't allowed to cry as a child.
Yeah.
So, positive.
On a different note, we're coming towards the end now. I'm just going to talk about something I did last week, and I don't watch as many movies as I used to now, but I watched Parasite. And have you seen that?
No.
I've not seen it.
It's a Korean film. It's the first ever film that's non-English speaking film to win the best movie at the Oscars.
Oh, I've heard about this.
Yeah. And what a bizarre film.
Really?
Yeah. It's. I heard somebody coming out and doing, well, what a load of rubbish that was as they're walking out the cinema and stuff. But I think you've got to go in with a bit of an open mind. The reason why it's clever, the filming, is as you go through the film, at each point, you really don't know what's going to happen next.
Yeah.
Most films, even if they can be a great film but still predictable, this film's just next thing you think, well, I didn't see that coming. I didn't see
Really?
that coming. And
Oh,
there's
that's
some real good twists in it and stuff. But yeah, if you get a chance to go and watch a movie, I'd recommend that. It's a bit bizarre,
Right.
you know, but if you're up for a bit of bizarre, I like bizarre films.
Yeah,
So
I do.
Something a little different.
yeah,
Happy with that.
there's a film I watched last year and it disturbed me. It's called Midsummer. And I don't know if you've seen that.
Midsummer.
Summer spelt with a, I
Right.
think it's SUMMAR.
Thought
instead
you were
of
being
ER.
posh.
No, no. Midsummer. Yes. And they go to a festival, and I won't tell you any more, but it actually, I didn't sleep for a couple of
Really?
Very rare I'd watch a film that actually messed with my mind. I don't find like slasher movies disturbing, and I don't watch stuff like that. But stuff that messes with your mind a bit.
Yeah.
And this was disturbing, brilliant, but disturbing.
Oh,
So,
right.
yes, there we go. I'm a bit of a movie buff. I like my movies.
Right,
Yeah.
cool. Well,
Occasionally
I
on
need
my
some new
show,
stuff to watch.
Yeah.
every few shows, maybe once every 4 shows, I'll do a little bit of a review of what movies I've seen recently and stuff like that. You know, so yeah. Right, we're coming towards the end of the show.
It's gone so quick,
That's-
hasn't it?
Yeah.
Flown by.
Yeah.
I've had fun though.
I have
Yes,
really had
It's been
fun.
really good.
Good. I'd like to say thank you very much for coming on the show, Jenny.
Thanks for having me.
And Chris, thank you very much for coming on the
Thank
show.
you for having me also.
I'm just going to promote myself now. Shameless, but I know.
We
but
talked about
Do it.
egos before. we?
yeah. Every Monday night, midnight till midnight, 11 till 12, we have the Mind, Body and Spirit show on 94.4 FM, Salford City Radio. I also have my first book, From Pills to Peace, which you can get on Amazon and about 12 other places. From Pills to Peace, the audio book. By the time you listen to this, will be out on Audible, which is actually Friday, but by the time you hear this, it'll be out. Book 2, Moving Forward, Learning How to Glide. That is elevating yourself and propelling yourself forward using surrounding energies with zero resistance, with zero effort, in harmony with natural law. That's coming out soon too. That's about 8 weeks off. And you can listen to this show. Obviously, if you're watching it, you know it's on YouTube, and you can subscribe to this channel if you enjoy it. It's going to be a show out at least one a week. And I've got Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, what's the other one? Oh, LinkedIn, and a website. This has been Midnight McBride on the Midnight McBride Show, episode 4, and thanks very much for watching.
Are we now on the cameras, you sneaking rollouts?
Yeah, absolutely.
That'd be fab.
Absolutely. I quite enjoy being a guest on people's shows, to be honest.
Yeah, I do. It's
quite
different,
nice.
isn't it?
It's
Yeah,
so-
it's
you just
easy.
rock
up, have a bit of cake.
Yeah,
Just like
have a brew.
watch you run round and stress
Sweat.
and check the mic levels.
Yeah.
I'll just sit back and relax.
Yeah.
I'll have a
Okay,
chat.
we'll sort it out then. I used to work at Manchester Radio years ago, but behind the scenes, I was
Yeah.
really important. I made cups of tea.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
You need a cup of tea.
Of course you do.
Anyway.
I still do it now. Like
Yeah.
I'll sit there and the other week I put the news in a whole minute early. And
Brilliant.
was like, we'll do that yet. We'll do something else.
You rebel.
You're efficient. That's all you got to say.
That's it.
Hey, I'm delivering the Salford news to you efficiently.
Press the wrong button. Fun.
That was really fun. Yeah, I enjoyed
fun.
it.
What I did to the last couple of people, if we're about 12:30, so we've got a few minutes, if you're okay, we'll get a drink and I'll quickly just pick one of the cameras and you can have a look at yourselves if you like.
Oh, God. Okay.
Do you want to?
Yeah.
It's I've put something out. I've listened to some stuff by Wayne Dyer or Sadhguru or Graham Hancock, these people who I think are amazing. But if they're all clips and the sound's not good, I can't listen to it.
No, same
you know,
here.
so
Yeah.
we've become sound audio snobs, haven't we?
What would you call an audio snob? Snaudios? I don't know.
Yeah. Oh no, Chris
she'll
is
be
a
all-
golden boy. She'll be
yeah,
fine.
yeah.
She'll be all right with me.
Yeah.
She'll be all right.
Chris is golden bollock. She'll be right.
Yeah. I'm number one there, to be fair.
Perfect then. Perfect.